Ooh, welcome to the Commander Smiths.
We are the Commander Smiths.
I'm Adam Smith.
And I'm Lowry Smith.
Don't worry.
We're cousins.
This is Commander Budget Upgrades, and today we are working on Food and Fellowship from the new Lord of the Rings. How this works is we have a $20 budget, and we are swapping out cards that we don't feel fit necessarily in the deck that we think that could make it a little better or get
a little
rid
more
of.
streamlined.
Right. A little bit. So, yeah, exactly. And so we're cutting out, a range of cards, but we got to keep it under $20. So, I mean, you could just swap out one card for one card that's a $20 card, but then that doesn't really change the deck much. So
That's a short video, too.
That's also a good point. So what we're doing, we have $20 budget. We're swapping in and out. We're going to go through the cards we're cutting, say why we're cutting them, and then we'll show you the cards that we are adding. And then at the end, for those players that have the cards and the toolbox cards and quite a few of the expensive cards, you have the
Mr. Unlimited
section, and we're just going to kind of just give you those suggestions. We're not going to say where they're fitting in the deck. You guys can make the decision on that. We'll go through all those cards as well. So first and foremost, working on the Food and Fellowship deck. Hey, Renshaw, he's on there. He says it works. Huzzah! So how this one is the biggest thing with this deck is they have way too much mass removal in this. It's not even one-sided. Okay. Like if it is one-sided mass removal, that'd be fantastic. But they just have board wipe. I think it was like 4 or 5. We'll get to that in a second. And then the other thing is there isn't enough like win cons. You're not dealing with a lot of the life gain in this. So I've added more life gain effects into this. Maybe kind of more of the win con. You're not necessarily having to attack. It's more of using that life gain to damage your opponent. So let's first get through the cuts in this. The cuts.
Okay.
So the very first one is Shire. Where is it? Shire Sheriff. Interesting.
Say that
card.
10 times fast.
Shire Sheriff.
Not literally.
So it's interesting. It comes in. You're getting rid of a token, and then you're exiling something. But it's more of an imprison thing, which I don't like because then if they remove the creature, it comes back. So
a 2/2 ain't hard to remove.
Right.
So
that
makes it hard to block, hard to attack with it. You'd almost rather have this effect be an enchantment or an artifact.
Then it's easy or harder to get rid of than a creature. Yeah, that's a good point. Next on the list is Mentor of the Meek. I know a lot of people love this card, but in this deck where you're not making creature tokens, you're making tokens that are food. Like that's your idea of the whole deck. So it's like, you're getting to draw off of playing these smaller creatures, but it is your focus is more of the gaining life. So I didn't like this in this deck. It's a good card for other decks, as you'll see later in our episodes here, because we have 4 decks we're going through. But this one just doesn't fit in this deck. The next one is Land. Where is it? Land Roval Horizon Witness. This is a 5-drop 3/4. What were you gonna say?
I mean, they saved the books and the movies, but not this deck, right?
Oh gosh! I wish I had. Well, no, that was actually good. I went. Oh, that was good. Not a no good for you, but that was a good one. That's kind of a good one.
All right.
There. But for 5 CMC, all it's doing, it's flying 3/4. Yeah, it fits in, like you said, the book and the movies. But it's like, all it's doing is whenever 2 or more creatures you control attack a player, you can have one of your creatures get flying. Okay, let's get rid of some of this attacking stuff and let's utilize the life gain part of it. So this it didn't feel like it fit very well on this. Again, the next one is okay, go ahead.
I do want to say one thing that they did with these decks was made them very good with the books and the story.
Right.
So the Eagles coming and picking up Frodo or Sam.
That's also a good
in
point.
This deck is perfect.
Yes.
If you're trying to tell the story.
Right. Yeah. So if you want to keep the story, keep these cards.
This is the deck you do.
But we're just trying to make these a little bit better so you can play these with your play group and kick some ass. So that's what we're doing here. The next is also I'm getting rid of the Eagles of the North. This is 6 CMC, so this is a 6-drop. The plane cycling's kind of nice, but I mean the benefit of it getting into play is like, really,
and you're not going to reanimate it or anything in this deck. Like it just,
So
I agree.
And then the last is this. No, I got a couple more creatures here. Now they kind of have the side theme of tree folk in this deck. I like some of the tree. I left Tree Beard in here, but I didn't want to utilize the other tree folk. It just felt pushed because it's part of this story. Again, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
Great Oak Guardian. This one is flash reach. It gives your creature, it untaps them, which is nice, and gives target player controls, gets 2/2 until end of turn creatures. So you could use it for other people attacking, but yeah, it's just not one.
Again, at 6 mana, that's a lot. Yeah, it's heavy.
Yep. And then Orchard Strider again. Wait, I had that one on here. Just making doubles. No, actually, I kept him on there. I like that one.
Oh,
because you get food tokens. I do like that.
There's food, so that's at least on theme, and it can basically encycle if needed.
Yep. So we keep that one in there. But Woodfall Primus, I did not keep in here. This is a little bit of removal, but for 8, like, I want my 8 to do a little bit more than what this one's doing. I like the.
Maybe that's why the wraths are in there, so that you can kill it yourself. And it comes back.
Right, I don't know. Yeah, this.
I guess.
And I guess you get a 5/5, and no one else has creatures. But yeah, so so those are the creature cuts. Then we move into the removal. They have a crap ton of spot removal, mass removal. I did get some of the spot removal. I will add some back in a little bit. But we have Go for the Throat cut out of there. My next one was it Crypt Incursion? Where was that one? I think we go to the top here. Gosh, this is a long list. There it is. Crypt Incursion. This just doesn't feel like you're exiling all cards from target player's graveyard, and then you gain 3 life for each creature that you removed, or each card.
And so I think the other two,
it's all creatures.
I think the decks also are meant to be played together within the whole thing, and so this is definitely for the Sauron deck.
Going against yours
to exile the graveyard, and yeah.
So yeah, this one.
But I agree. In a general thing, I don't think this is doing much for you other than gaining potentially a ton of life. But
yeah,
I agree with this cut.
Yep. So that one, was that the first one you agree with? Thanks, Lowry. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I'm just.
I know. I'm just kidding.
I'm letting you roll.
Yeah. So that was. I missed Mortify. Oh no, that's next. Mortify is right here. So Mortify also cut out of here a little bit of spot removal. Again, I have some more stuff coming in there. I like Toxic Deluge because you're using your life. You're gaining life. You're doing stuff. Harmonize. We've talked about this card before. I don't put it in any of my decks, and this one I also cut in here as well. I added stuff for draw for that. And then the 3 board wipes, so Fell the Mighty, Fumigate, Dusk and Dawn. I got rid of those. And I think, and one more card I cut was Assemble the Entmoot. Where is that guy? Where did that one go? I know it's in there. It's Assemble.
It's an enchantment.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Assemble the Entmoot. So it's creatures you control have reach, and then you can sacrifice it, create, so it's utilizing the tree folk part, and then you don't even you gain life off of that. It just didn't feel good for this deck. So I wanted better life gain. So let's get to that part. So we have the food and fellowship. So you guys, we will have this linked. If you're watching this later, not live right now, it won't be there, but linked. You can see this on our Mox field of the cards we've added into the deck. So we have our Frodo and our Sam here. And here are the 15 ads that I threw in this deck. So, of course, Academy Manufactor. You're making food token. Why not get a treasure and a clue added on top of it? So it's a little bit of draw adding onto your stuff. It adds some ramp. This is a must add if you're making any 3 of those consistently in the deck.
This is, it's an auto include if you're a food, clue, or treasure deck, for sure. And
it's an artifact, so it can go in any of those decks. Next is one of mine, and I think you like this card a lot too, but it's this is a game winner, especially if you're gaining life in a deck. So the ultimate is basically removing everybody's creatures and artifacts your opponent's control if you have 15 or more life. Well, this deck is gaining life, so this fits in perfect. You should have this, and it's cheap. Don't go off of the prices that are there. I was able to find this one for $1.80. So yeah, it says $3.99 on Card Kingdom on the little symbol there, but you can get it for $1.80 if you go on TCG and stuff. So you can get this for pretty cheap. And plus, you can gain life. It also adds the gain life part, so its other parts just fit in this deck very well.
Well, and life gain payoffs are pretty important in life gain decks, and so if you don't. Why life gain if you don't have the payoffs of Ajani, and these other cards that you have going. So
then we go cleric class. So now if you gain life, you gain that much life plus 1. You can bump it up to start getting counters on your creatures whenever you gain life, and then you can bump it up again. You can have a little bit of recursion. So I thought this was a nice little easy add into the deck. Again, don't go by the prices that are sitting there on the side because it is a little bit cheaper. What a cleric class.
Well, when we're looking on TCG Player mid, and so that's when it's Card Kingdom's going to be more expensive.
Yep. So again, this is all under $20, all these cards total. So the next one is Cliffhaven Vampire. So now we're going to utilize that life gain and do damage. So that's what I was talking about. You sacrifice your food token, gain your 3 life, but you're also doing a damage, or everybody's losing a life, your opponent. So getting more, and so there's going to be a couple of these in here. Stacking these effects is going to help you win the game without having to attack. So this was one of them that I added in there. I'll get to the next ones in a little bit. The removal
that should be sitting around in your bulk too somewhere.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
If you've been playing for a while.
This one is one of my favorites for removal. But this also has the life gain in there. So if you're really in a pinch, you had your Ajani out, but you don't have 15 or more life. Hey, you could do the gain twice X life and now use Ajani, and basically there's your removal. But at instant speed, you get to choose artifacts or enchantments, this card's
real good.
So you get to pick and choose what you want to take out. It's just almost an auto include in any white deck if you have it. So the next one, I love this card, but Lathril the Bounteous. Thank you. Hit the button.
Okay.
Lathiel.
Lathiel. Let's go Lathiel.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say that I know it either.
Whatever. But it's a unicorn. We have 2 colorless, green and a white, as you see there, but it has life link. But at the beginning of each end step, if you gain life this turn, distribute up to that many 1/1 counters among any number of other target creatures. So this doesn't gain that, but you give it to your other creatures. So if you gain 3 life, you put 3 1/1 tokens however you want amongst all your creatures. So this is awesome in this deck. It's going to get your creatures that are out there bigger, and you can swing through and kill people. And that one, I just want to mention that because it seems like it'd be expensive. It's 10 cents. That's a really cheap card.
Right, it's cheap.
Yeah.
Cheap.
Martyring Blight Priest. Martyring. Yeah, you're gonna have to hit that.
All right, we'll do this again. Marauding?
Yeah, marauding.
It's not a magic name.
Yeah.
That's a...
Anyways, shut up. It's reading. That's the other part. So we have the same thing. It's when you gain life, each opponent loses life. So this is 3 CMC. This one's 4. It's on the ground, all that. So similar thing. You're going to see a lot of repeat stuff in there. Nadir's Nightblade. Whenever a token you control leaves the battlefield, each opponent loses life, 1 life, and you gain a life. So you're sacrificing your food. It's doing a similar thing. It's in this deck. It's doing the same as the other 2. Rock's Faith Menderer. So this is whenever you gain a life, gain twice that amount of life. So this one is, I think, one of our more expensive ones in the deck. Academy Manufacturer was the most expensive at $3.37. This is $3. So yeah, this is our second most expensive card.
Okay. Getting 6 life off of food ain't bad.
Yeah. And it has lifelink built on it with, it's a 1/5, but still. Trail of Crumbs. So this is from Eldraine, whatever. The Eldraine. Remember we named that. Whenever this enters the battlefield, so you at least get a food token with this. But then whenever you sacrifice a food, you may pay 1. If you do, look at the top 2 cards of your library, reveal a permanent from them, and put it in your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. So it's almost kind of like a little scry effect in a way, and filling your hand up.
Well, you're putting one of them into your hand, right?
Right. So, I guess draw effect.
Yeah, it's yeah. I'd consider it a draw. That's a solid payoff.
Yep. So you're utilizing your food tokens to get you a draw. So I love that. One deck that you built that's pretty sweet for this especially, but it's Trey-Lasar. Whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on this and you scry. So
I like seeing this here.
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah. So I think this one's it's nice because Trey-Lasar is getting bigger, but then you're also scrying whenever you're gaining life. You don't have to pay anything. You only get 1/1 counter. It isn't for each life gain, but still, Trey-Lasar is getting bigger.
Right.
This is the point of this deck. You're gaining life, and if you have multiple gain life effects, it can get multiple counters on it, you know.
Yeah, because it's similar with like marauding and the other vampire. Like it's whenever you gain life, they lose 1 life. So it's just each instance that it's happening.
Yep. This one's an all-star, I think, in this. Is one of the top ones I wanted to add. But Veto, whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. So now if you're gaining the 3, if you're gaining the 6 life, it isn't hitting everybody, but you're targeting somebody and taking them down.
You're doming somebody.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then, the bonus part of that, creatures you control gain lifelink until end of turn. So that's kind of a nice little added bonus. And then the last 3, so we have Vizkopa, Guildmage, maybe? Question mark. So this one, target creature gains lifelink, and then you could do whenever you gain life, each opponent loses that much life. So it's the other ones, but better. Instead of the 1 life, you gain 3 life. Everybody loses 3 life. So that one's
and this is also nice because since you're not targeting, it doesn't like. When somebody has like Shalai out and they have hexproof, it still hits them.
That's a good.
Whereas like with Veto, you can't get that person unless you remove Shalai because they have hexproof. So that it's nice having both of those effects in there as well.
Yep. And then the last 2, we got Voice of the Blessed. So whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on it. If it has 4 or more, it has Flying and Vigilance, and then if it has 10 or more, it gains Indestructible. So this is just a big baddie that's getting big as you're gaining life.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's going to get huge real quick with Lathiel in play, too, because that's, I'm assuming, where you're going to dump most of those counters.
Yep, that's a good point.
So,
and then I think this is kind of my added pseudo removal, but I like this one a lot. And this is a more expensive one of the ones here, which, it's 325. So actually, this is the second most expensive. But which of the Moors... it has Death Touch, but at the beginning of your end step, if you gain life this turn, each opponent sacrifices a creature, and you return up to 1 target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. So has them sacrificing, and you have recursion bringing stuff back. So I think this is one of the all-stars in here. All right, so now we get into the
Mr. Unlimited.
What was that total, though? What was that total?
Good point. For
how much you would add?
$19.33 if you got all of these cards here. So right under that $20 budget. You go out, buy that commander deck. $19 gets you all these cards, and I think really streamlines your deck to do pretty good stuff and actually be really, really good.
I like these upgrades.
All right, so now we go to Mr. Unlimited. So these are just cards. I'm not going to say where you're going to put them. But you guys could add these. You could do Aether Flux Reservoir, Chroma's Will, very nice game winner. I love that. And white decks that you have creatures with attacking. Alzheimer's. No, I'm just kidding.
Hammerheads.
I know. It's just Archive. So you're gaining double the life. So it's like your rocks, the Rhino up there. And then it's also if you're drawing cards, you can draw more cards there. Anointed Procession. Now you're making your tokens. You make more tokens. Double that up. Same thing with doubling Season. Bolas' Citadel, utilize your life. You can pay your life. The only thing I would say the downside is the triple black in a 3 color, but I think you can make this work. Exquisite Blood is really going to take down the table, and you gain life. Heliod Sun Crowned. Whenever you gain life, put counters on a creature or an enchantment you control. So that one, you're just getting your other creatures bigger. Karlov, whenever you get, so this has removal. It's quite expensive. I would have loved to add this in here because whenever you gain life, put 2 1/1 counters on it. You can remove 6 of it and exile a creature. So that one's really solid. This is an all-star in life gain decks. Sarah Ascendant, and then we got Shieldred, the Apocalypse. So now when people are drawing, they're losing life. And then Teferi's Protection, and we finish off with the One Ring. Why not draw more cards? Because you're gaining so much life. Who cares how much life you lose off of that? So, that is the ads for that. I think $20 budget, you could do a pretty good damage here. So,
right. We want to cut and done.
Yeah, we're done.
Let's say, hey, if you enjoyed this, share, like, and subscribe to the Commander Smiths. We sure would appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. And make sure to check out the other deck tech videos that we have coming out here.
Also true. All right. Have a good one.
We'll see you.
Bye.